Okay, thank you. Good morning, good day, good evening, or wherever you are, everyone. My name is ANINDITA Putri, and today I'd like to present my paper on artisan management for textile-based home decor, micro, small, medium enterprise, a study case of ARKA BEDLINEN, which is authored by me, ANINDITA Putri, co-authored by Hari Febriansyah. We're from Institute of Technology Bandung, the School of Business and Management. Okay. We will go over these several contents today. So the first chapter from introductions, business issue exploration, data analysis, and conclusion and implementation plan. Right, so a little bit of the introduction. The company that we're discussing today, ARKA BEDLINEN, is a micro enterprise. In Indonesian regulation, micro enterprise is any enterprises that with revenue less than $2,000 per year. And the MSME in Indonesia, last year alone, there are 64.2 million of business categorized as MSME. And the economic contribution that it had is very impactful. Last year alone, it contributed to 61% of the country's total GDP. And 4% of the MSME business that operates in Indonesia belongs to the textile industry, which the company also belongs to. And in 2019 alone, the company which operates in Jakarta represents the MSME in Jakarta that absorbs 200,000 people of Jakartans, which is quite a huge number, of Jakarta being 7 million people. And the majority of the worker profile are composed of junior high school graduates. So the conclusion from all this data is that MSME in Indonesia actually carries a lot of potential to first boost the economy and then second absorb the workforce and providing equality in job access despite academic background, because as you can see, majority of the employee are junior high school graduates. So they don't need to go to further education to get in there. And the MSME can also act as an enterprise that help give human development. The company, a basic thing about the company itself, first, the company is founded in 2015, and it produces artisanally made bed linen with signature embroideries and made to order services. So the bed linen production is all made by hand. And so not mass produced, not factory machines, so they're all embroidered by artisans. And the vision of the company is to create an inspiring living environment through well-thought design and artisanal value, while the mission of the company is to become the best artisan bed linen and home decor brand in Indonesia and promote the quality of the artisan tailors itself. So as you can see, these are the kinds of products that the artisan made. So it's a different thing than garment. And a garment tailor couldn't possibly make this because it's using a different techniques and a different medium. So the organization structure is very, very simple, even though the company has been around for 5 to 6 years. So you have the CEO, and then you have the account manager, and you have the artisans team, which is headed by the head of artisans, and then you have the embroidery artisan and sewing artisan. The business process is very straightforward, while the production process lies heavily on the artisan teamwork and productivity. So the business issues at hand currently, based on the preliminary interview conducted with the internal team, is that these 4 points with this artisan management, personal finance issue, artisan understandings, and artisan recruitment, all of them focuses on artisan, but the major issue is the artisan management. So the problems that could be stated by this business is the lack of formalized system to manage the artisan, which resulted in the artisan management issues such as performance tracking and goals execution. Because of all the 5 years the company is standing, there are no formalized system. Everything is still conducted organically, as is the nature of micro, small, medium enterprises. So this paper objective is first to understand the working culture of the artisans that is employed there, including their work process, challenges, and potential, and understand the current objectives and goal being implemented in the company, and capitalize and develop further the full potential of the artisan for the benefit of the company. So as you can see, this is the situation of the workshop. The artisan are doing everything by hand with the sewing machines. So everything is very organic. So the conceptual framework of this paper is first, the business issues and the objectives of the artisan management is in the company is analyzed through 2 ways, which is the external analysis and internal analysis, whereas the internal analysis will highly emphasize on management by objective system and performance appraisal system, which is the 2 key concepts that construct this paper. And then furthermore, we will formulate the strategy based on the SWOT analysis and data collection analysis, and propose the organization members business objectives and proposed performance appraisal system. And that is how the full paper constructed. And we'll find out about the implementation plan afterwards. And the research methodology conducted here, all of the data extracted is using a qualitative method. So using an in-depth interview through the internal team and several external figures, and the data will then analyzed. So these are the respondent profiles. So it's divided into two. First, the internal and external. So the internal, this paper is interviewing the team, and it's divided into two because in MBO, you need to divide between manager and subordinates. So the artisan are the subordinates here, and the manager here is the CEO and the account manager. Whereas the external interview adds an additional validation for the key findings based from the internal interview. So here we have two key experts, Pak Budi Istianto and Gregor Mendes, who are both have worked with artisans all across Indonesia to add validation to the key findings from the internal subordinates interview, whereas there are three comparable business owners with matching size of business that will add validation to the manager's interviews. So the interview design is based on two key concept and construct the paper. First is the management by objective cycle, which is popularized by Peter F. Drucker. And the interview itself is based on the three preliminary steps of management by objective cycle. So why is management by objective cycles being used in this paper is because management by objective cycles highly emphasize a dialogue between managers and subordinates to construct the best objective for the subordinates and that aligns with the company's objectives to create a systematic work performance for the subordinates in the company. Whereas the second interview design is based on performance appraisal theories and largely focuses on the benefits that is being received and being given in the company. So these are the questions. I won't go into it very details, but as you can see, these are the preliminary steps, which is cascaded into questions and allocated to the audience. So different question to different audience here. Before we go into data collection analysis, let's get into the business situation analysis first. So the Porter 5 forces that is being used to analyze the external environment here analyzes the industry of the company, which is artisanal bed linen industry. So it's a completely different industry than garment or mass-produced bed linen. It's populated with brands that are using local artisans and local materials. So as you can see here, in the industry itself is highly segmentized. This is the luxury branding industry, and this is the low-cost, mass-produced industry for bed linens, whereas the company is operating here filled with other companies that do everything artisanally. So the companies around here competed with very segmented target. So they compete with their own core competency, and the core competency of the company itself is in its artisanal value. So based on all this analysis, the company needs to highly emphasize the artisan productivity because they rely on their artisanal product and their artisanal quality. So this is the data collection, and I won't go to very details into each of the questions, but as you can see here, this on the left, this is the background questions, whereas on the right here, you have the questions based on the theory of MBO. But all of these questions here, what we can find, we are aiming to gain the key results actually, rather than just an answer, but what can we learn from all of this interview being conducted? And based on all the interview and also the additional validation from the expert is there are three things that we can find. First, the artisan work habit is highly engulfed in the spirit of community and familiar environment. So let's emphasize again, they are not a white collar worker. They are not labor worker, right? They are artisans, highly individualized work. And they highly appreciate a nurturing work environment. So their aim is not only economic value, although that is their purpose in working as an artist, but they do value a working environment that is positive and also encouraging and have this community-based spirit. And all of the artisans that works in the company have a general understanding of what evaluation is, but because everything is conducted organically, they don't really understand what is a formal evaluation is, or a formal performance tracking, or even a company's objectives. They don't understand those. They just work and is evaluated based on their output. And this is the manager data analysis. So we interview both the CEO and the account manager. So what we can learn from this interview actually that in the 6th year of the company standing, they don't have all the system that a white collar company have or a huge factory have, right? But everything, they still go on with how they work because first the artisans have combined experience and they do everything verbally, like they figure out problems and do evaluation verbally, orally, and when everything works, everything's work. When everything doesn't work, they try again, but it's all very organic. And from this interview, we can find that actually a general objective is evident in the company. So the company already have a vision mission, right? As we see in the first slide, but it's not formally written and it's not communicated in a formal way. Everything is still very organic. And in general, the artisan performance right now is has been somewhat satisfactory, but it still needs improvement because there are no formalized system. So if they were to expand and gain new recruits, of course, they need this as a base. And there are no SOP and guideline and formal evaluation for the artisans. And the company currently does not have a rating system, and they would need it for future reference to evaluate the artisans' work. And the company right now already have benefits, but because they don't have any performance appraisal system, the benefit is distributed very organically. And one of the key aspects that we can learn from all the business owners interview is that these comparable business owners, these owners of MSMEs, they shared that the key to having running their business and especially working with artisan is first to have an empathetic leadership styles and participative leadership style and direct to communication approach, because these artisans are different from, as I said before, factory worker or formal worker. They are an individual with high artistry and high sensitivity. So they need to manage in a very community and familial way. So this is my proposed subordinate objectives, right? So the company already have a company's vision and the companies already have missions, right? But they don't have objectives, which is they only have weekly targets or monthly targets. And if they were to grow, they need to start learning to have objectives, right? So these objectives are actually cascaded down from the mission. And previously, we've seen all the interviews, and all those interviews actually have given us the artisan key results, right? And as you can see here, the company's objective is cascaded down from the company's objective. And here, by combining the key results and the company sub-objectives, we can see here the artisan objectives that it can already gain from combining these two. So this is actually a very basic format, but in the long run, the company can use this way and use the system to figure out what is the artisan objective based on the artisan need, but also the aligns with the company's objectives as well. So this is the same with the proposed manager objectives, right? So you have the sub-objective, which is the same as the sub-objectives being founded, being put in the system for the subordinates. But then you have the manager key results, and then you'll find a manager objectives, which aligns with the company objective and also align with the subordinate objectives. And there you have a system that could work, that they could grow as the company also grows, right? And for the performance appraisals, there are many methods of performance appraisal system, but the performance appraisal system that is most suitable for this company is actually behaviorally anchored rating scales or the BARS method. So the BARS method actually evaluate based on the specific job specification of each employee, which is very crucial because the artisan have different job specifications, right? So they cannot be uniform. They cannot have the same kind of evaluation. So as you can see here, all of the job specification and analysis is constructed here and it's elaborated here. And so the artisans are evaluated differently. And so it's very highly tailored to the individual, which is much more fair. So based on that study, the conclusion that we can find, let me get backtracked again on the objectives, right? So the first objectives, we want to know the artisan work process, the challenges and their a potential as well, and the current objectives and goals being implemented in the company, and how to capitalize and develop further the full potential, right? So first of all, the artisan process. So the artisan process is still very organic at the moment, as we can learn from the previous studies. And in order for them to improve better, they need to learn to formalize their system. And the challenges that the artisan faced is actually keeping up with the production target and balancing work with domestic tasks. So because because most of these artisans still have their families, so they need to, have their work-life balance. So if we help by evaluating, having a formalized systems for this artisan, it can actually help them to better organize their life and their work also. So for the potential, the company's artisanal value is actually a very big potential, especially as it wants to compete in the artisanal bed linen industry. So investing more into developing the artisan skills can actually contribute to the company's strength, and that is what the company needs to learn and put in mind from now on. Currently, there are no formal goals implemented in the company, and there are no formal objectives implemented in the company, which actually contributes to why they're having troubles in managing the artisans, right? So the recommendation that I am giving to the company on this paper is, first, for the company to have their own objectives. So no longer just a weekly target or a monthly target based on their production, right? But a real objectives based on their vision and their mission. And for the company to revise their organization structure as it grows, because right now the organization structure is very organic. Sometimes as I said before, the CEO and account manager and some job construct overlap to one another. But if it wants to grow and using this MBO, it can help to perhaps assign the account manager to do all the evaluation and all the objective overseeings, right? So formalize the organizational structure as well as the company grow. And for the superior to set down goals and measure for the subordinates is really crucial. But the subordinates also need to be active in proposing their goals and measures for their job in accordance to their need as well, that aligns with the company. And there needs to also be a constant alignment on the subordinate's goal and the company goals as well. And a feedback of interim result against milestone is what I would recommend to the company in this paper, because currently there are no feedback against milestones, right? As I said before, everything is evaluated based on production and based on targets, which is a very time constraint, weekly, monthly, that is no longer suitable if the company were to grow. And to do evaluation of the goals that they set themselves, because of course, as you grow, your goal, not all of your goal can serve you, right? So there needs to be a knockout of inappropriate goals, and to have a cumulative periodic review of the subordinate results against targets, right? So no longer just based on their production capability, but also based on their targets, right? That they set themselves based on the objectives, and to have a review of organization performance, whether it's annually or biannually or every quarter, but have that formal review. So this is the action plan that is being recommended. So in order for this company to really formalize the system, there needs to be a 6-month prior investment to really analyze the company's objectives and structurize and create the system itself. And this is the individual objectives tracker that is proposed in my paper. So it's really, it looks like it really simple, right? But they don't have this kind of tracker, why is simple?
You have a minute to conclude, please.
Yeah, okay. So this is also the additional evaluation tracker sample that could be applied in the company as well. So actually, in conclusion, this tracker might be a very simple thing that maybe an office worker have seen or a factory worker have seen, but for a micro enterprise such as the company that we're discussing, it's really important because it's the basic step to have a formalized system for work performances and evaluation performances that could help the company grow in the longer years. So that is all from me. Thank you very much. And if you have questions, looking forward to answer them.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It's good things you have proposed to them, but the major things which is very important for any micro company to groom is the investment.
Exactly. Yes, it's true. And your question?
Yeah, I said you have done a very good work to a lot of propositions to the company, how they can improve, and a lot of things you have explained. That's very good. Like before you, we have a presentation on the especially vertical and the horizontal innovations, and the company has to adopt. But importantly is it's come to the investment.
Yes,
and
exactly.
adoption of the current technology.
Yes, I do agree, and this is only
because most of these most of these micro business people are lagging behind of the two things might be the investment in the and they are not adopting the new technology.
Yes, I agree. This is very small aspect that to
Because
help them.
they can have a more designs if they
Mhm.
are using the technology, and they can improve their designs. Uh, so that could be another things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
completely.
overall you have done a very good research on them, and your
Mhm.
proposition is a really uh, very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.